Defender of ants, DOA, standing up for our rights, DOA, defender of ants, DOA. Social activism, motherfucker. Social activism, motherfucker. Social justice activism content is my vibe. Like, subscribe, follow in the tide. Catch me outside, how about that? Defender of ants, DOA, standing up for our rights, DOA, defender of ants, DOA.
Have every right to film in a public space, bitch.
Okay. I figured I'd have you guys come along. My friend said that, you know, it's one thing to watch a swatting. It's another thing to try to kind of get a little justice. So as much as I don't want to stream when I'm working on this, I kind of want to. My friend said it's such a unique experience. And so just wanted to share with y'all as we move along here. So welcome back. Thank you guys for keeping it nice, high and tight. And let's see if I could do this. I'm not gonna pay too much attention. I'm gonna be working on this. Google Drive. Okay, hold on. Let me make sure my Google Drive is good here. Let's see. Final. Close that. Okay, everyone's all up in here already. Dang! Alright. I want to show you some things real quick here. Where's my drive? Alright, first off, look at how quickly chat moves. Let's see this. This is what the police officers used on me when I was a victim of the swatting. I'm going to send you a link here real quick too. So chat moves quickly. Doesn't take long. I knew that they took my fingerprint. It's a perfect timing to have to understand what was done to me and how it was done. Definitely part of the story here, and a perfect timing. I didn't realize that there was a device. I actually thought it was a black device, so I would have pled that wrong. And that's why you say alleged. And lawsuits could be certified or uncertified. And so you could, if you respond, this is my understanding of lawsuits. If you file a lawsuit under threats of perjury, then the person responding has to also file they have to respond under threats of perjury. So you could file complaints or lawsuits, verified or unverified, I guess is what they would call it. So pretty wild. So this is the FBI FAB 300 certified multi. It is equipped with industry standard wireless communication, including multi-mode biometrics. So what is this actual? What is the actual? Yeah, if DataWorks Plus. DataWorks Plus. fingerprint scanner. This is actually what my uncle worked on. Okay. Evolution 3 Data Works Plus. Okay, perfect timing for this. Super interesting. Okay, let's get over into let me just give these guys a heads up over here. I'm live and coming in here. Just so y'all know. Gotta send a link to this other person. Right, real quick here. And, alright, back. So you guys can't see this, just making sure. And here is the link. Nope, that's not the link. Copy link. And paste. I accidentally deleted it the other night, but was able to recover from Google. Here is the link. I gotta talk when I type. Alright, that's done. Check on these guys. Duh. Okay, just checking. Just checking, folks. Okay. So, always learning in your chat? Well, that's good. It's a mini FLAC database gadget. It's pretty fucked up, man. But perfect timing, because I'm finishing up the San Luis Obispo. This is the atmosphere that LAPD created for people who protest Scientology. Even the angry ones. Okay, so let's close that, just in case. We're got two documents going. We want to be in under the Defender of Ants channel, All Out Home Construction. And let's remove this one, and then we're going to come in and stop screen, President share screen, my drive. Okay, that was not what I wanted to share. Okay, why is that not coming up? Okay, let's try that again. Present, share screen. Oh, there it is. Share. Okay, closing the chat. Let's see what we got here. All right. Oh, man. Privilege was subject to 3 separate swatting related law enforcement contacts. Okay. Plaintiff does not allege that any single historical event standing alone proves Scientology or originated any particular 2024 emergency call. Plaintiff alleges that foregoing historical evidence is part of a broader factual context in which the 2024 events occurred and from which the alleged pattern and coordination conduct are to be evaluated. Pattern and coordination conduct. I think that's supposed to be one word. Delete. Upon that foregoing historical evidence is part of a broader factual context in which the two and for which the alleged pattern and coordination conduct are to be evaluated. Coordination. Okay. Let's see here. Add. Standing alone. Okay. Add signal. Okay. Plaintiff alleges the following historical events solely as background concerning a recruiting pattern in which perceived critics or opponents of Scientology were associated with serial criminal threats or accusations, including bomb threats and violence, and those accusations or reports resulted in or were accompanied by law enforcement intervention. Okay, I like that. Materials. Yeah, materials sounds dumb. The reoccurring pattern in which perceived critics. Yep. Okay. What's up, David B? Let's see you in here. All right, so all right, I'm gonna have to add some parties. Let me make sure. Okay, let's make note of the high volume calls made by Scientology concerning plaintiff, and then how that was used against plaintiff. Need to get 216 and need to make mention of 2 phones and computer. Okay. Mention Coster having direct connection to the captain. Comes up in Escobar's body cam, remember? Shows an access to authority. Could help with conspiracy evidence. Like Photo Guy's section at the end talking about the SLO lawsuit. The assessment is simple. There's an incredibly severe, systematic violation of civil rights and standard procedures. When law enforcement treats a victim of a swatted emergency as a suspect, manipulates reports, and seizes personal property under the guise of safekeeping, they cross multiple constitutional lines. Ooh, I like that. Okay, we'll put that in the coordinating collusion between state and local agencies and the church and the state in some form or wording. Okay, I do like that. I like what's being thrown down. Okay, let me get this bigger for you guys. Hold on. Okay, let's redo this. Historical backdrop of bomb threats. And 911 calls. Okay. Okay, we read that. Scientology Office of Special Affairs describes investigative perceived opponents examining possible criminal activity. Network Order number 95. 70s Public Guardian's Office. Okay, that's the second sentence. During the same period, declaration filed in later litigation alleged that a Scientology representative warned a declaration allegations. Okay, church and bus planning a bomb attack at L. Ron Hubbard Way. which the LAPD was contacted and the charter was canceled. During 2009 protests outside Scientology Golden Air Productions property at Gilman Hot Springs, a Scientology representative publicly reported dozens of bomb and death threats. Scientology also saw protests as law enforcement acknowledged repeated calls from Scientology property concerning demonstrators. During public controversy aftermath, publicly associated criticism of the organization with threats, vandalism, harassment, bomb threats, and violence. September 21st, during Eat Predators protests outside of Scientology Celebrity Center in Washington, a firearm was reported to LAPD in a 415 call. No. Officers dating. I need Golan's first name. ChatGPT. Where are you, buddy? Slow suit. Okay. What is Golan's name? Security officer. Oh, you know what? I don't have to put his name. Officers detained and handcuffed a private security guard hired to protect protesters and who was licensed to carry a handgun. And while investigating the report handgun. Officers detained the security guard for an hour and a half. Handcuffed in the back of a police call, even though no crime was committed. I don't know if I like that language, but whatever. Plaintiff does not allege that any single historical event standing alone proves Scientology originated any particular 2024 emergency call. It alleges the foregoing historical evidence as part of a broader factual context. Beginning in late 2023 and continuing to 24, bomb, firearm, fire, and other high-risk emergency calls became intertwined with the developing Scientology protest movement in Los Angeles. LAPD records reflect multiple bomb-related investigations at or near Scientology-associated properties in January 2000, including 6 bomb scare investigations at 6700 Hollywood Boulevard on January 15, within approximately 2 hours and 41 minutes. Okay, I don't need that. January 15th, while those investigations were occurring, plaintiff was in Santa Fe, New Mexico, traveling towards Los Angeles and had not yet participated in Scientology protests there. I removed anti-Scientology from all the verbiage. I am only saying Scientology protests. I don't like the word anti-Scientology, so I think I've removed it from most of the lawsuit, but I will continue to use just Scientology protests. I also have refrained from calling Scientology a church at every possible moment. Okay, so VA okay. Plaintiff as a target and victim. Beginning on about January 15th, after arriving in Los Angeles, plaintiff engaged in public protest activity concerning Scientology. His activity included protected speech, display of signs, video recording, and live streaming, all from public streets, sidewalks, and other traditional public fora, which he had a right to be. And other traditional. I don't like the where he had a right to be. Plaintiff regularly used his cellular phones to live stream, communicate, record police activity, preserve evidence, document his location, and conduct and publish matters of public concern. Those recordings could provide contemptuous evidence concerning plaintiff's location and conduct at the time anonymous callers accused him of possessing firearms or committing other crimes, and protected him from being attacked. Okay, I don't like that. I'm going to just eliminate that all completely. Plaintiff was over and over. Plaintiff suffered. Plaintiff the protesting of live streams the live streams plaintiff was then subject of plaintiff and other protesters started plaintiff started becoming the victim of false calls to service as others had already become accustomed to. Calls to service, better known as swattings. Plaintiffs started becoming the victim of false calls to service, better known as swattings, and as other protesters of Scientology had already experienced in the month before. Had already experienced before and during the same time frame as plaintiff. All right, that could sound better, but that's what I'm leaving it as for now. My wordsmiths could make that sound better. All right, and I don't think hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. I'm going to do all these 26. All right. Let's I want to make sure right now that we are completely double spaced. Let's get these 14 in here. Times New Roman. 1.5. Okay. I always redo this up here. Let's go single space in this bitch. Single. Single. I don't know why it does that. There it is. Oh, it's a fucking... Okay. Okay. I'll go back to Times New Roman then, asshole. Fine, fuck you. Bastard. I like to keep this underlined. And bold. Alright. Cool. Try to make it as neat as possible. History. I wonder if I could just get rid of... I think I'm just going to lose this. I'm just not jiving with it. And this too. Fuck it. Okay. That made me feel better. Fuck. I'm feeling way better now. Okay. Hold on, I'm going to look at chat for a minute. I'm not paying much attention. Verified complaints are a bit more rare in California? Okay. Yeah, well, because you don't want to put yourself without knowing all the facts. All right. They're putting marijuana back to with ketamine and all that. That's just crazy. All right. I'm gonna listen to something in the background, so don't mind me. I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear it or not.
I know I'm annoyed with the phone noises, but I'm glad we have the interview versus not having it, because this shit's crazy.
All right, I'm not gonna be able to concentrate. All right, history. Plaintiff is a target and victim. Beginning January 15, 2024, after arriving in Los Angeles, plaintiff engaged in public protest. Okay, we already read this. I don't know if I need to have that. Hold on. I'm not sure if I need to have that. I don't feel like I need to have that as a letter. The letters just don't feel right. Maybe I'm a psychopath. And I like this single space too, for some reason. So I'm rocking with it. Alright, I'm checking comments. There's Brian. Well, I'm going to try to not use as many names where I don't have to. Okay, and I'm having issues because some of these are being space weird. Appellate court ruling on Remney case regarding RTC David Miscavige. The appellate court here agrees that Mike Rinder and Claire Headley's declarations were admissible because they describe RTC's intent, knowledge, and habit or custom. In other words, Leah does not need direct testimony that RTC was responsible for all these individual incidents, because RTC's history of directing attacks and harassment against Scientology's enemies is enough to prove that responsibility. David Miscavige is not going to be happy that Leah is breaking through his corporate veil there. Okay, RTC. All right, yeah, I want to add Scientology to this. Okay. Yeah, it's crazy, huh? What's up, always a minion? Right. Okay, so I'm having formatting issues here. See, like between 42 and 43, there's a fucking space there. And I can't get rid of that goddamn space. See how it's like big? So what is it? Okay, what did you do there? How'd you do that? What is that, spacing? Yeah? Delete space after item in formatting. Delete space after item in formatting. Like there. Underline and formatting. Formatting. Format options. Underline and paragraph. Underline. Okay, I don't know. I don't get it. Delete space after item and formatting. Title line and paragraph spacing formatting. God, I hate formatting in Google Drive here. Delete space after item in formatting. And title, line, and paragraph spacing. It still doesn't make sense. Delete space after the item in format. Okay, so like that. Just delete. Okay. Alright, I want to figure it out. Okay. February 6th. Format. Line. In format. In line and paragraph spacing. Okay. In format. Line and paragraph spacing. And then what? Remove space paragraph. Remove space paragraph. Line. Remove. Add space before list item. Remove space after paragraph. Format. In format in line and paragraph space. Remove space after if it'll. Maybe it's not there now because it's add space before list item, add space after. Okay, it might do it. Okay. I didn't know. Alright, I always use a quick button, so I didn't know that I could go up there to do it. So I'll alright, so I'm missing. I get it now. I got it. format line, the paragraph spacing. Okay, I don't see it, but so March 9th, February 11th, March 9th, March 25th, April 4th, April 23rd, okay, so I have to near the Scientology building at 701 Montgomery Street, San Francisco. San Francisco Department received a 911 call where received a false 911 call stating plaintiff possessed a small report number PD recorded as report number. Plaintiff was so March 9th, March 25th. Okay, so let's add to March 9th. Plaintiff voluntarily dropped to the ground, spread his arms and legs as officers arrived. Okay, it's going to be tabbed over. Officers approached with firearms drawn, including one officer who stood a few feet away and pointed a handgun towards and around. Handgun about the pointed the handgun about the plaintiff's head. About and around. Handgun towards. Approached plaintiff and advised him that they had received a call for service. Okay. Officers said, hold on, okay, there's a couple details. Officers had plaintiff handcuffed for about half an hour, and during about halfway through, okay, half an hour. Officers told plaintiff that he was a victim of a swatting call, and if he wanted to file a report. Plaintiff demanded to be uncuffed, and after telling plaintiff that he was a victim, officers forcefully used a DataWorks Plus. Okay, hold on. Plaintiff, and after telling plaintiff that he was a victim, plaintiff alleges that officers used a device officers use a device called, yeah, I mean, that's it. DataWorks Plus. DataWorks Plus to attain the victims, attain the plaintiffs, screen, and officers then prepared to take a second reading. After plaintiff consent. I knew they were taking it. I got this. Without his consent. Plaintiff's screen and officers then appeared to take a second reading. Again, without his consent, and visibly upset that they took it the first time. I don't know if that might be too wordy. Let me do this. Make less wordy. Dun, 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 dun. ChatGPT. See what ChatGPT threw out to me. After officers told plaintiff use plaintiff demand to be uncuffed, officers then used a DataWorks Plus device which is a mobile. I don't like that. No, I like mine better. A mobile fingerprinting device. This device called a mobile to take plaintiff's fingerprints without his consent when his hands were behind his back. Okay. Afterwards, the police. Defendant. No. Gomez. Afterwards, Gomez. Rosendo. Gomez. This is detective. Supervisor. LAPD supervisor said they were going to tow plaintiff's van because the tags were expired. Plaintiffs license plate tags were not expired, and officers did not tow his van. Officers did not provide a victim report or a victim report or Marcy's law pamphlet. April 4th, LAPD approached officers, plaintiff advising they received a call. Oh, okay. Hold on. And officers on scene accused told another live streamer that plaintiff had called in the swatting himself. Okay, I think that's all the details. Okay. Likey. Alright. March 25th, April 4th, April 23rd. Was against Scientology, protest Scientology building. Okay, this has to scoot over. 911 call. Plaintiff possessed a small black recorder as a report number. P were detained for over 30 minutes and use of force on compared to. Okay, plaintiff was live streaming. And plaintiff was live streaming the encounter. One caller expressly dispatched, "This is a swatting incident." Okay, I don't think this is necessary. Unnecessary fact. During the investigation, SFPD contacted LAPD Hollywood Division Wilcox for information concerning plaintiff after a caller stated to get a hold of Detective Ludo. The CAD record shows that LAPD Detective Rand advised that plaintiff had... Okay. The CAD records... Okay, I don't think I need that. And the CAD record states LAPD Detective Rand advised the plaintiff had a lot of run-ins, followed by reference to exposing deadly weapons, battery, felony vandalism, false police reports, gun charges, possession of tear gas, OC spray, narcotics. CAD record stated that Scientology security director had additional information concerning plaintiff and recorded that a cellular phone number was supplied with a request that number not be placed in CAD. Plaintiff has never been charged with a narcotics offense, gun offenses, or felony vandalism, and has never been... Oh, hold on. Has never been gun offenses or never been charged. Never been convicted of a narcotics offense, gun offenses, or felony vandalism, and had never been convicted of making false police reports. The tear gas allegation by LAPD Hollywood Division detectives was rejected by the District Attorney per California Penal Code 849S5 that states that charge was a detention rather than an arrest. Scientology also supplied SF with a one-page flyer containing plaintiff's name and photographs, identifying him as DOA Defender of Ants, describing him as a professional activist and very aggressive, and stating they joined the TikTok protest activity in Los Angeles and had also traveled to Las Vegas. Okay, none of that. I don't think that's all necessary. We could delete that. April 25th, Sacramento police responded to CAD call number. Alleged a person was pointing a firearm at the Sacramento Scientology building, 1007 6th Street. Officers reviewed surrounding cameras. There no person pointing a firearm. Plaintiff alleges that unlike several other swatting responses, Sacramento officers approached plaintiff without guns drawn. No arrest was made and no police report was written. May 25th, plaintiff was subject to another swatting. Plaintiff was liable. Did I just do this twice? March 9th, March 25th, April 23rd, April 25th. Oh, I just did all the fucking work for nothing. Okay, well, down to 84 pages, winning. Nothing but wins here. Okay. Okay. July 6th, 3 swatting events. Join personnel, remove plaintiff from his regular video. Okay, for now, remove plaintiff from his regular vehicle at gunpoint, order to his knees, handcuff, detain him in the rear. With laser dots. The laser dots, I think, is a really important element. Laser dots about his body. Ordered him, like, that, like, adds, I can't tell you how much that adds to the overall, like, feeling of it. Okay. Plaintiff voices dismay, frustration of being fingerprinted as he was a victim. I feel like it's a huge invasion of property. Hello. Hello. Sound off. Mute. Now. Hold on. Gosh, I can't just not have sound problems. I just can't not have sound problems. All right. Hopefully it's not echoing. I don't know what happened to. The megaphone gods just don't like me on this smaller electronics. Okay. It's only megaphone for DOA. There is some type of energetic field around me that creates interference. So that's mic number 3 that's giving me trouble. So we kicked into the phone. So we're on the backup phone. So here we go. I'm just taking my time. I'm like burnt on it. And so I'm struggling, but I'm just going to work my way through it, a little down it, and make sure everything's good. I have to add 216.24. So I'm going to go to, let's go over yonder to the slow, share this tab instead. Okay, fine. And let's get counsel. Let's check out counsel here. Okay, throw me down some 216.24 language just for the seizure of the 2 cell phones and the language of the affidavit for I can never spell affidavit right. I don't know what it is about affidavit. The language of the affidavit for the search of the van. As it has aggressive civil harassment language. And the 216 arrest is just, why are we doing the 216 arrest? For the seizure of the 2 phones and, yeah, for the seizure of the 2 phones. What else would I need for that? Why were you fingerprinted? If you know affidavit. Okay, yeah, for the seizure of the language that is in the search of man, as it has aggressive civil harassment language. Oh yeah, okay. Also Salzar's police report does too. And the numerous swatting calls or emergency 911 calls. And then so jump back over. Okay, turn this off. Data works, turn that off. Email, final. Okay. Second. Okay, back over here. Second swatting. Occurred. Second swatting by LAPD occurred at the gas station near Sunset Boulevard and Pacific Coast Highway and advised him that another swatting call had been received concerning him. Six swatting by LAPD occurred at the gas station near Sunset Boulevard and Pacific Coast Highway, and officers advised him that another swatting call had been received concerning him. Involving concerning plaintiff. See, I'm okay. Here's something I'm not sure about. Using him or her. Do I want to refer to plaintiff as plaintiff all the time? Because when you start saying him or her, it starts to become hard to follow if you got like two different people that are talking or in the sentence. I'm not sure, is it common to use just plaintiff for everything, or to use him and her at all in a sentence? Or can you only use it in like one sentence? Like, say I have a sentence and I first refer to it as plaintiff, and then as I move through the sentence, I change to him or her, like substitute that for him or her. Depends on where it's used in the sentence, says David. What does chat say? Use initials. Edit affidavit when you said you guys. Huh. All right. Well, that's a. I look forward to an email regarding. It depends on where it's used in the sentence. If you just ID'd the plaintiff and the sentence flows into pseudonyms agreeing. What David says, him is fine. All right. Should you include a statement that bomb threat protocol and procedures were not followed? Okay, I don't know if I got the language of the swatting incidents. Of course she is. Okay. Yes. Should you include statement that bomb threat protocols were not followed, including... Yes. You remember when they were doing all the weird fire truck shit, too? There's got to be mention of fire trucks also. Okay. Where should I add the fire truck stuff? Okay, that's a really good... I'm going to screenshot that and put it in ChatGPT so I don't have to type it. Save. I probably could have typed it already. All right, hold on. We're back over here. It was thinking for a while. Following plaintiff's February... I don't know why it's blue. Okay. Following plaintiff's February 16th arrest, LAPD booked two cellular telephones belonging to plaintiff as personal property. The following morning, Detective Patrick Aludo obtained a warrant authorizing seizure of the two phones and a search of plaintiff's impounded Chevy van. The warrant authorized a search of the van for pepper spray, cellular telephones, computer equipment, and illegal weapons. In his statement of probable cause, Aludo characterized Scientology protesters as yelling at, blocking the path of, and generalizing harassing officers. say that protesters repeatedly filmed and live streams person entering, leaving, or passing the restaurant. The little further say that they believe the protesters were conspiring to escalate their protests into violent encounters, culminating in the awful use of pepper spray. And asserted that plaintiff's two phones were likely contained unpublished videos, text messages, direct messages supporting that theory. The affidavit expressly say that the two phones were to be seized and not searched, and that a subsequent warrant would be required under California ECPA before their contents could be searched. Ludo similarly stated that an additional electronic device located inside plaintiff's van would be seized but not searched without a subsequent warrant. That was my fucking thing. I would add Salazar's contrast immediately after LAPD's own contemptuous report, and also documented that Hollywood Division had experienced a series of radio calls concerning the protest area, and that many of those radio calls had been determined to be swatting calls. Okay, that's beautiful. That's what I wanted. Salazar's report nonetheless also characterized protesters as engaging in continued verbal harassment, live streaming confrontation, and threatening to publish identifying and concerning plaintiffs associated with the area. Okay. I'm not really sure. I'm not the smartest person in the world here. I'm not sure exactly how contemptuous is being used. Contemptuous definition. Showing contempt, scornful. Oh, contemptuous. No, not contemptuous. It's not contemptuous. Contemporary. Is that the? I got that spelt right? I got two different words. Yes. I know contemptuous. Exists and occurring in the same period of time. Exists and occurring in the same period of time. Oh, okay. I understand it. Okay. Okay. Oops. No. All right. Where do I want that? I want that. Where's. Okay. Okay. A. I'm struggling through this. Officers remove plaintiff from his record of gunpoint. Okay, the first one occurred. Second swatting. and alleged meth use. Okay. See, this is where I start having trouble with someone. Okay, watch. Tab. Okay, good. During a third incident that day, Los Angeles County Sheriff's personnel extracted plaintiff at gunpoint along Pacific, detained him in cuffs. All right. Let's hold off on that. Just because we don't even want to get into that subject. I'll mark that. Hold on, I gotta get the. Hold off on that. Can I call from 10, 10, 10. Okay. Plaintiff, a victim of crimes. Oh shit! Did I lose? I lost my. Okay. I'm indecisive. Sorry. So I need to have, because this is a major date. See, like one of the hardest things has been like organizing this information into a story without having it too long, having like the details that seem important. 2024 seizure of 2 cell phones. Heading 3. Right. Yeah. I'm gonna get that. Oh, I'm not even on this side. Okay. Thank you. All right. Well, we're over here right now. So perfect. I left you here. I was just doing some housekeeping over here. Let's get you back over here. Sorry. That's why I don't like streaming when I'm doing this, because it's just like another thing. But you guys can watch the struggle. Struggle is real. All right. 1617 seizure phones and vehicle warrant. Okay. Cool. What is that? It's 58, 59, 60. I'm gonna clean this up. This is my cake. What the fuck? There it is. Okay. Plaintiff's 2000 February book 2 cellular telephone belonging to plaintiff as personal property. Okay, I don't know if I don't need all these Uh, I don't need this. I don't need this. Okay. And then seize. Seize 2 cellular telephones belonging to plaintiff as personal property. Seize 2. Okay. Phones. Then the phone. Okay, well, I'm trying to think what I want to add in this, so that's why I'm like, just not really sure. I think obtaining a warrant authorizing seizure of the 2 phones. I don't think I want to talk about the van. Okay, I don't think I need to. Little, okay. Well, this like, yeah, okay. I think this needs to stay. Okay, let's do this. This is where ChatGPT really comes in handy. Can we shorten this up without losing any details? Uh, there we go. Sorry, guys. Sorry for being the worst streamer ever. It's like pulling fucking teeth here. There's so many details, and I'm fucking traumatized by this shit. The warrant shows you were being railroaded. Check the text. Rejiggle the sentence. Use it as okay. Oh yeah, and the weapon language. All right, let's see here. David, you could come up if you want. Okay. Yeah, this is important for the seizures of the phones and everything. This language has to be there. All right, let's see what ChatGPT did for us. Oh, they got the numbers fucking right and everything. Following plaintiff's first, the following morning obtained a warrant authorizing seizure of those two phones. Yeah, I mean, they basically seized the phones with my van. So I don't need to put the van in there. Because then it starts getting into, it gets muddy with the van in there. So that's where I'm having trouble. Like, I don't think I want to, yeah, the weapons. Let's add the weapons. Add in the statement that no weapons were found. And a Ludo attempted to enter. Okay, see, this is the thing. This is what I'm having trouble with. Okay. This is what I'm having trouble with. And there's a couple of reasons. My other Title 42 touches all on the February 16th, 17th arrests. I don't want to put too much information in here, but I want it to be known that there's two phones already taken. And the statements about a gun being in the van. Okay. Okay, let me see. Yeah, no van. Okay. That's what I was thinking. LAPC's two cellular phones. Okay. Okay. Live streaming confrontation. Okay. I think that's good. I'm trying to think, is there any more language from that? Okay, I got to mention. All right, need to mention that this February 16 incident is currently being litigated. And these are for patterns. I think that's the right thing. I think that's what I want. Okay, how many pages are we at? 85. Okay. And I don't have. All right, so I got that up there that I need to finish. I need the other swatters, and I got to take his email. Where are you, buddy? Right there. Where's the fucking list? Okay, here it is. All right, copy. Zach was swatted 9 times and handcuffed 7 times. Okay. Paste. And okay. Need to make a pleading for Zach as he was swatted second most from me. He had 9. I had about 19 total. Okay. $6,500 pages. 6,500 pages. Okay. I got distracted from that. I gotta put that in there. Right here. The events affair 1617 are presently the subject of separate pending litigation. Plaintiff alleges the following facts here only as relevant background and evidence of recurrence pattern of LAPD investigative practice, classifications, Scientology protests, treatment of live streaming, electronic evidence, seizure, cellular device, and contemptuous knowledge of repeat swatting calls. Plaintiff does not seek in this action to duplicate or relitigate the claims arising directly from the February 16th to 17th. Okay. I think that's a great fucking disclaimer. I got to bring you back over here. Okay. Good night, Jenny. Oh, add the stage. There you are. Hello.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's crack-a-lacking?
Yeah, a little bit of everything, apparently. Real quick,
Nice.
to go back to the weapons thing. I think one thing that's really important on this is including the weapons mentions in the warrants, because you already have Rand bringing up weapons to San Francisco, and that in the end, that's all going to tie together.
Okay.
The fact that they're forcing the issue with weapons when they already know at this stage of the game that these are swatting calls. There's nothing real to them. They have found nothing real at this point at all. Why do they keep pressing the weapons?
Yeah.
I mean, you put that together with everything else, it kind of shows intent.
Okay. Yeah. So where do you think I should put it?
In that section we're at. I mean, to me, it fit fine right there.
All right.
And as far as the van, I wouldn't worry about. I don't know if I'd worry about the van issue, because that's part of what they did. You know, that's the extent, that's the extreme they went to.
So let's put some language about the van being searched for weapons, and then there being no weapons.
Yeah, and there had never been any weapons. But what swatting call? Which swatting call was this? What order?
This is
what
an arrest.
No, but I'm just saying, at what point? How many swattings did you have at that point?
On February 16th?
By February 16, how many times had you been swatted already?
I don't think once yet. I can tell you.
I thought that was after a couple of swattings.
February 11th was my first one.
And second?
March 9th.
All right, so they had at least one swatting where they found no evidence of the call details, weapons or otherwise.
Well, all of them. Well, they were. I'm not sure. I'm glad you said that, because I need to put the March 25th one. Was a 187.
The murder call.
Yeah, armed police response to a code to PC 187.
Yep.
7 murder. Call the service. I'm going to call the service. No, that's wrong. March 25th. Police response. It's just another armed police response.
Yeah, and another thing too, Scott, is when like what you have on the screen right now, that's coming out of ChatGPT, talking about Zach and the was it 9 swatting incidents in 2024?
Yeah.
Find out how many of those were prior to this too, because those would be related, because that's all, he was part of the Scientology group at that point.
Well, yeah, I'm
I mean, I know you want to streamline it. You want to keep away from certain things, but I think it's important that you start showing that at some point in time, they had to know that these were definitive swatting calls, and that you didn't have weapons in your van. They can search it as many times as they want, and they're not going to find them. And for them to realize that there's swattings, repeated swattings going on, at what point in the timeline of the 46 swattings, should they have known that they didn't have to be searching for weapons every single time, especially when they start writing warrants. And then one other thing too, as far as the van is concerned, and that search warrant, it might be worth thinking about the fact that they took one specific document from your West Virginia stuff too.
Oh, yes. Okay, beautiful.
Because again, all this stuff in the end ties it together.
Yeah.
It wasn't just, oh, here's a piece of paper, we'll take this. It was a pretty specific piece of paper they took. And that it was actionable. You know, they took action on that. And you've got all the records of that. No, wait, here, I got to do this for everybody real quick. You ready? If anybody gets that, great.
It happened to be where with the case with the West Virginia incident. Okay, let's see here. All right, Zach's stuff. Zach's getting a whole section.
Probably as he should. It's a lot of information.
What's a factual allegation? Talking to pseudonym.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
Okay. Okay. You got to figure out plaintiff, a victim of crimes, prior incidents, protesters. Okay. Prior incidents, protesters. Okay. Prior swatting. No. Prior incidents. Swatting incidents of protesters. Prior swatting. Scientology protesters. Swatting incidents. Are you echoing?
Yeah, I am. Hold on. Yeah, yeah, it was me. Sorry. The mute just went off for some reason. Should be fine now.
Okay. Okay, this is way too much. Way too much.
I think getting it all out there and then streamline it afterwards is good, because if you don't get it all out there, you're going to end up missing some real critical things.
Yeah.
So get it all out there, and then we can always streamline this stuff. Just like the other one I looked at today, it's got to be streamlined big time. I mean, it's going to probably cut the pages in half.
Yeah, if
you know what I mean.
Yeah, but this can't be cut. This is the thing with this thing. Like, well, it can be cut, but like, I had a lot of anxiety already going through all this, trying to decide what has to stay in and stay out. and there's so much fucking information. And like,
Yeah.
how do you plead a conspiracy without pleading all the details of the conspiracy?
Well, I mean, there's going to be some of it that'll be repetitive, and that's just the nature of the beast. As you go through and start doing this, it's gonna come across as repetitive, and some of it's going to be repetitive. So we can look at that stuff too. You know, you're not going to be able to cut it way down. This one, like you said, this is just there's just so much to this. You're not going to be able to cut it down too far, but you will be able to cut it down. You know, paragraph by paragraph. We can shorten all of it up.
All right. February warrant authorized LAPD search plaintiff's van for weapons. With no weapons. Stored weapons van. Plaintiff kept a large quantity of papers and personal records inside the van. During the search, officers seized one document. Only one document. Okay. Okay. Yes. Okay, cool.
I wouldn't say. I mean, they only took one page, right?
What?
They only took one page, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say one page, not one document, because a document could be 10 pages long.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's why that one page was so specific.
Only only one document concerning plaintiffs kept a large under his bed inside the van. During the search, officer sees only one document concerning plaintiffs. During the search, that was scattered within the pile. These documents contain information. Okay, beautiful. The seized document containing information concerning plaintiff's West Virginia probation. Oh. Okay. The same probation was later discussed in communications between LAPD, Scientology Rep, and West Virginia prosecutors concerning plaintiff. Okay, this language is important here. Plaintiff alleges this fact as part of a chronology showing how information obtained during February 2024's search subsequently entered later law enforcement prosecutor communications. Okay. So, check out this breakdown of Zach. Now we're down to 3 sentences. Okay, let's see how it saved it. Paste. During 2024, Scientology pros Zach experienced probably 9 suspected swatting incidents, 7 resulting in handcuffing. The incidents occurred across LAPD, Los Angeles, San Diego, Palo Verde Estates, Redondo Beach and LAFD jurisdictions included false reports of kidnapping, weapons, and dead bodies, with several responses involving officers holding him at gunpoint. The incidents responses at Jelson's, Coral Canyon Road, Maryland. Okay, I don't think.
Hold on a second. All right. Damn mute is like on a timer and it just stops. Didn't he have drug calls too?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact details. This is from.
I mean, you're not really putting exact details in here, but I mean, I think again the drug related stuff ties to yours.
Yeah, I mean, it's really the false calls, they're high priority calls, code 3 calls. They kept referring to it as high priority. I kept calling it swatting. They are high priority. All right. I don't think I need the letters for these. I think I want to put them on the left hand side now too. I know, Sue. I know. Fuck. I've been all over on where I want it. So stupid.
Quit worrying about formatting, dude. You hate formatting, remember?
Yeah, but it's like my brain can't work with it. Not like it's got to be, because I'm basically going down and trying to get this how I want it for it to be filed. I can't spend. I have to get it filed here in the next couple days because
I
I'm
understand
just
that,
running
I
out
mean,
of time.
You got to get the information. You got to get the information ironed out first. Then formatting it'll only take how long? Once you get it figured out on exactly how you want it, do that then.
It's more of a mental thing.
Yeah. You're just trying to make it easier for me and Sue and anybody else that's in here, right? That's why you're doing all that.
Yeah. Oh, there's this document was later used. That's a really good one. Cajun Juju. Let's go back up there. Where did I put that? That was in prior incidents. Because it's just. All right. I was in the wrong place. Cut. This needs to be up here. You gotta get the bold out of there. All right. 10 incidents involve plaintiff. 10 8 misdemeanors. I can never smell misdemeanors, right? Oh.
You
8
just start it.
misdemeanors.
Just start it, and it'll let you do autocorrect on it. It's easier than trying to go back to it.
Okay. My brain is just. I got burnt out on this thing. It's just so there's so much. There's me wasting. See, I got all the dates pretty much good here. March 8th, good. March 9th, good. March 12th, good. March 16th. I got all these officers' names in here. I'm not sure if I should have all the officers' names. Oh, here. I don't know if I should be dividing things up like that. If I should just have them numbered. I think I'm just going to have them numbered. These are the things that slow down my brain. I'm trying to make it perfect.
You're talking about like misdemeanors involving plaintiff?
Well, this is because this lawsuit has turned into a malicious prosecution lawsuit too.
Right. So does this have any impact on what they wanted you to do as far as how they were looking at separating stuff out and running it together? If that makes sense. At one point, there's an issue, and I don't know if it was with the misdemeanor stuff or the felony stuff, but they were talking about all of this. They were looking at it as one event, one continual event compared to individual events. You know what I'm talking about? Do you remember that?
Oh, but that's for the other lawsuit.
Right, I understand, but I'm just saying, will that impact this one? Will you run into the same thing?
No, because I'm not facing any litigation in this case.
Okay.
I'm mentioning the two because the other lawsuit has to do with February 16th, 2024 and May 25th, which was my arrest at La Poubelle.
Then you might just want to either take it out completely, those headings, or maybe just use a date line, just say March 2024, and then go into it there. And the ones before, whatever the timeline is there. And if it's not in chronological order, I would just take it all out. Is this thing running, and I hadn't thought about it, but is this thing running in chronological order from start to finish?
As much as it can, yes.
All right. Well, then I would probably, if you want to break it somehow, I would probably just say March 2024. And then they'll read what it's about. Right?
Yeah, but the titles kind of give the reader an idea of what you're trying to argue or what you're trying to. So the 8 misdemeanors involving plaintiff, like the malicious prosecution is, well, it's multiple things that I'm kind of 8 misdemeanors involving plaintiff and 2 uncharged. So you got March 12th. March 12th is the and 2 uncharged days. Okay, 8 missing. It is chronological under the headings. It's not chronological in the pleadings though, because I got to jump around with the incidents. So I am chronological with underneath the headings. I'm
Right.
trying to be. It's
Yeah, and I
hard.
think that
I'm trying not to jump. I'm trying not to introduce anything somewhere like reference to it where it's in the future tense in the document. And
right.
so
I mean,
I'm trying to
that's what,
introduce everything when it's introduced. And 8 environment planning, including 2 uncharged days. Let me think about that.
yeah, and I think Sue just said the same thing. You know, under the headings, it should be chronological. Whether the whole document is or not, that's one thing. But
It is.
yeah, that's what it should be, and that's controllable. The rest of it, you may have to reference stuff back and forth, but under each heading, you can definitely control the flow of this.
Okay, March 17th. See, these people, their full titles need to be on here, like LAPD supervisor, because that supervisor role, those are important to the Monell, to making the pleadings for Monell, which is what holds the it's what holds the city liable.
Right.
It's not just the stormtroopers. And I think
Well, I mean, it identifies the people that are involved that had authority to do this and to change things, how things happened, and either they did or didn't do. So yeah, I think it is important to have them all identified, because you don't have all these listed individually at the top, do you?
Well, I think I'm going to add. See, this is where I'm having trouble also, because Gomez should be a defendant. Jerry's also like a defendant in this one, or should be a defendant in this one. So that's what I'm. You don't need to name them unless they're reoccurring. Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. I agree with that. All right. Let me start off at the top, because Mata is reoccurring though. Odo's reoccurring. Okay. I'm just processing that in my head.
Right? Wouldn't it work to do it like we've done in all the others? If they're named as a defendant in here,
this is the problem, man. This is the problem. There is too many names, unless they're. There's too many names for the person following the story to keep track of them. If that makes sense.
See, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but the one way to separate that out is, like let's say right here on 105, LAPD officer Alfredo Garcia. He's a LAPD officer. If you want to put serial number in, everything else, that's fine. But written just like that, somebody's going to read it. But when you get to anyone listed as a defendant, and you say defendant Huber,
yes, there'll be a short. There'll be short. I like Torres. I already got it shorthanded throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, like on all the rest of them, we capitalized it and all that, the formatting on it. I think that keeps it separate.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
When they're short and it's a capitalized last name, basically.
right, and that would
Except for
identify
the
them
instance for
as
Gomez,
defendant.
there's two Gomez's.
Right. Well,
What?
like I said, the way we did it before was defendant Gomez, defendant Torres, defendant whoever. If you write it like that
Yes.
in caps, and then if it's just a mention of an officer that's involved that's not a defendant, LAPD officer Alfredo Garcia, serial number 42114, the reader's going to understand that's just another person involved. That's not a defendant. And the other thing
Yeah, I
too
guess
is
I could
if you
use
don't
their.
do that, if you don't format it the way we did before, where we capitalized it, said defendant Garcia, defendant Torres, defendant Gomez, whatever. If you don't do that, then the defendants are going to blend into this narrative like they're any other person involved. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, yes. Well, the problem right now is I'm not sure who I want to name as defendants and who I just want as witnesses. So right now I'm just naming everybody, but like I'm eliminating the guards. Right now I'm just gonna eliminate the guards that are one time mention. Because it's too many people. There's too many
Yeah.
characters for someone reading. They get lost.
Yeah, I agree completely. And like I said, like Sue's talking about right now, what she's typing in there. The
I
judge
can't
not
see
going to
what
be able
she's
to read.
typing.
She said the judge will not be able to read everyone's names. One
Yeah.
is defendant Gomez, the other is just an officer. Like I said, I think going back to that format that we have on everything else, and Sue may disagree with it, but I think if we went back to the identifying like known from here out as defendant or as
Yeah, but you're missing out. Yeah, no, I'm shorthanding. I'm shorthanding them, but I have not determined who's the defendant yet, so I haven't made that move yet to do it. And so until I make that thing, I can't shorthand them out yet.
all right. Well, then I wouldn't worry about it right now until you figure it out. We can always go back through and find and replace whatever we need to.
I'm trying to do it right now, David. I'm trying to get
Okay.
this filed in like a couple days tops.
I hear
So
you.
I'm trying to blaze through it, and I will shorthand it once I know who the defendants are, but I don't know who they are yet, and so I'm not worried about it right now. But
Right,
I'm trying to figure out what my defendants are. I'm trying to make that decision. That's more important than how it's shorthanded. But I do know that the officers that are just single mention right now, I'm just going through and pulling those names out because it's too much of them.
Yeah, I agree. If somebody's just not really pertinent to this, just because they were there doesn't mean, just like, for example, when you talked about the officer telling another streamer that you were calling on yourself, you didn't go into detail about who that was. You just said an officer, and that's fine. That's what you're talking about, right? I think
Yes.
that works perfect. A generic description that it was an LAPD officer involved is all you have to have. You don't have to have their name and badge number. Because that really doesn't make any difference in telling these details. I agree with that 100%.
Well, yeah, and it's just it's confusing to have.
Yeah.
You just there's enough that you have to have. You just have to keep it general until it needs to be specific.
Yeah, absolutely. And that way you don't have to worry about formatting as much. Formatting all those other names.
See, Officer Lee though, Officer Lee might be a defendant. Okay.
I think too, Scott, as we get through this, as you get through each section of this, I think that as it's completed, it's going to be easier for you to see who needs to be defendants and who's not.
Well, I like this officer Lay. He made the arrest on 5/25 or 5/5. So I'm like removing his name, and I'm thinking that I shouldn't be removing his name because he's the one who actually made the arrest. And he knew that he shouldn't have made the arrest.
Yeah, in that situation where, the other thing too is how many of these people may or may not be called in to talk about this. In that situation, if there's any chance of that too, you might want to leave their name in.
Malicious prosecution. He needs to be a defendant.
Well, I can tell you now, that's your call, nobody else's.
Yeah, well, he's just the one who was well, first off, he told the guard that I wasn't.
Yeah, he's the one that identified the religious service time frame and everything, right?
No, this is the officer. Hold on. This is April 20th. He was the one building a claim. He didn't arrest me that day. Nope. Sorry.
And so that's the reason I'm not going to make that call at all, because the ones that I think that I know what the timeline is and where they fit in, I may not be correct on. So I don't want to get into that.
The officers discussed with the LAPD officer efforts to build a case. Okay, that's right. Let's see.
Is that the same instance where they were talking about turning over to major crimes, building the case through major crimes?
Yeah, that's April 20th.
Okay. Yeah, because that's not the one I was thinking it was. And now that you say that, as far as when it was, I remember him just because of doing the transcripts for that. But
Yeah, it's chain, Sue. But I thought that was not lay chain. All right. They all had malicious intent for those times you weren't arrested or prosecuted. Okay. Agreed. Just put 100 those on your caption so you have leeway later to serve the. Okay. I'm reading it. Doe defendant's caption, and you can later name the defendant later if he needs. Dates don't match. Single page, one page deck. Line 104. March 17th. Yeah, no, they do. They do. Okay. And LAPD officer took coverage. LAPD supervisor Rosando Gomez approved the report. The incident happened on March 16th. Odo reported the next day at the front desk on March 17th. It was this LAPD supervisor Rosano Gomez and then Detective Torres were involved with that. And these are going to be defendants. Torres. And I'm going to do him, Rosando. Rosando. Defendants. Supervisor Rosando. What?
As you make these decisions, are you typing it at the top, just putting the name up there and fill in the rest later?
No. I mean, I will eventually, but I'm trying to determine who are the defendants.
I know. I'm just saying. You just said this one will be a defendant, and you were going to change it on there to defendant. If you go up to the top right now, just buzz up to the top quick. Just type that name in alone, just the name. That way, you don't have to go back and search the whole damn document to see who you made the decision on a defendant was.
That'd be a good thing for my helpers to do.
There you go. I'm on a smoke break, so I can't do it.
Delegating. I always feel like an asshole when I delegate, though. That's why I don't like it.
You're an asshole all the time. It doesn't matter. Just say it. We can handle it.
And I think that Torres or the Scientology, like Hubbard, Odo is going to end up being a defendant here because there's no way that he can't be. Supervising Officer Patton.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Hold on a second. This is Title 42, right?
Yeah.
How can he be a defendant on a Title 42? Doesn't it have to be a government official?
No, you could conspire with non-act government agents can conspire with
non-government agents.
Yeah.
Okay. I was this many years old when I learned that.
Yes, let me double check. Yeah, I'm positive you can. Private actors can be defendants in Title 42. See, and this is what has caused me so much delay in getting this done is trying to figure out who the fuck the defendants are and not. Or maybe just leave them as defendants. Okay.
Joint action. All right.
Yeah.
Just figured I'd bring it up. Because you got nothing else to think about. Come on.
Okay. Yeah. No, you're a motherfucker. In a nice way. For the
I try.
joint action. Okay, so joint action is the fucking words we're looking for.
Yeah.
Ninth Circuit asks whether the private party and government officials acted in concert in affecting a particular deprivation of constitutional rights. This can be shown through a conspiracy or by showing the private party was a willful participant in joint action with the state or its agents.
Yeah, it covers it.
Court states that the same basic rule: a private person does not have to be a government employee. It's enough that the person is a willful participant in joint action. Okay, so we need to use that word joint action. Okay, let me see. Could I use the word joint action, or would that be like making a legal conclusion?
I don't think you have to use that, Scott. I think it'll be like self-identifying.
No, but this is the thing with like lawsuits. This is like a real important detail. When you're like putting facts together, there's very specific verbiage that you have to use for the courts to fully recognize what you're doing. For example, I've been learning that with malice, right? You have to plead malice in the defamation cases. Okay, so there's got to be language in there where you're identifying that you're pleading it for malice. Or I guess you don't necessarily have to, but having those words there make it like a stronger anchor, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think reading the wording that they just came up with there makes it pretty clear now, and we can fit that in.
Yeah, defendants engaged in joint. Defendants engaged in joint action. Yeah, so like making the legal conclusion, like you don't want to make legal conclusions,
right?
After a long song, the facts showing that the alleged joint action consisted of. The Supreme Court expressly uses the phrase holding that prohibition act under color of when the willful participant in joint action with the state or its agents. Likely recognizes the joint action test and asks whether government officials and private parties acted in concert in affecting the particular constitutional deprivation. The communications, meetings, and exchanges of evidence and information requests from enforcement action and substantial law enforcement activity described below are alleged as facts relevant to plaintiff's claim that certain private actors and government actors participated in joint acts concerning plaintiff. So following communications, meetings, exchange of evidence, coordinated law enforcement, joint action between.
And I think an example.
What?
What penal code to report on or file this under? When he's saying, "Oh, this is 302." Well, in a number of the videos, he's telling them what penal code to use.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sorry, but that's security or not. I don't care. That's kind of leading the whole.
So I'm taking that pleading and I'm going to plug it into. Let's share this tab instead. It's 1220. I'm going to plug that into communications, which is right here.
And I think the part that locks him into this, Scott, is that he initiates those conversations. They don't. He does. When he starts talking about which penal code to use.
Yes.
And one of the big reasons that he's doing it is because he's trying to convince them that you're disturbing religious services, for example. That you're not just disturbing the peace or anything else. He's leading them in that direction. And when they have a discussion about it, now it's a joint thing.
Okay, so this was a really good thing for the communications with Scientology. That was a good pleading to plug in right there. Communications mean is exchange of evidence and information, request for enforcement action, and subsequent law enforcement activity described below are alleged as facts relevant to plaintiff's claim that certain private actors and government officials participated in joint action concerning plaintiff. Okay,
Perfect.
so
I like that.
yeah, so this is gonna be defendant.
See, I'm not so much of a motherfucker now, am I?
Huh? Maybe we're holding off before we cast judgment on you.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
I got the best haircut of my life today. Just so you know, I'm a happy camper today. That was awesome. Finally found somebody to cut my hair.
It's hard.
It is. I had a girl cut my hair for 20 years, and she quit. She went off and decided to start selling eyeglasses.
Eyeglasses?
Yeah, she works for an optical center. She cut hair for almost 30 years.
I don't want to touch people's. I don't want to touch people's fucking head. I get it.
Yeah, well, she's still touching her head, just the front of it.
With the glasses?
Yeah, of course. Unless she just says, "Here, put these on." How's that feel?
No, fuck that. Okay. Defendant Odo Hubbard. Oh, you know, I want to do full caps lock. Huber. Defendant Hubbard. Okay, replace. Next, replace. Okay. Oh, right there.
Here's a question for you. Does he pronounce his name Huber or Huber?
I have no fucking clue. He looks like Fidel Castro, though.
Well, call him Fidel. I mean, he calls himself Kyle. You might as well call him Fidel.
Yeah, it's wild that he could just use Kyle like that.
Yeah. Did you ever look in, or did anybody ever look into, doing calls under a false name?
What?
Has anyone ever looked into making calls like that under a false name?
If it's a crime?
Yeah. I mean, the cop didn't seem to think so. The cop, when they told that cop, she just said, "Oh, okay." But to me, that just sounds like it would be an issue.
Oh, damn. There's a lot of these. Defendant Hubbard. Next. I don't know if I have to put defendant all the fucking time, though.
No, just capitalize Huber or Hubbard.
Yeah, it does. I don't need fucking. It doesn't need to be defended every time, right?
No, I mean the last time when we said that before, we were just capitalizing the name.
All right.
Because we identified that format in the beginning, and said from here out, known as. We put it in parentheses, and then afterwards, it was just the name capitalized.
All right. So his name needs to be defined up with the parties. I'll do that.
And honestly, I don't remember which one it was we did that on, but you can go back and see what the formatting was on it. Who will know?
All right. Slowly moving along. Eeyore. Okay, so this is going to be Rosandio. Defendant Rosendio. Okay. Supervisor. I want to use supervisor here, though, still.
Well, I mean, if he's going to be defendant, then you don't have to. It'll be defined up above.
Yeah.
And you don't want to repeat that word 300 times, or just like you don't have to say Odo's a psychology security guard.
Austin's involved in this too. Lieutenant Kevin Austin. Hmm. Patton was, what was Patton for? What, April 19th? Supervising LAPD officer. Recording as incident number. Sentence. We're trying to get him slammed for 302. Let me look at this again. Oh, let me just do this.
You know, I've been on this stream. I don't know how long I've been up on the panel here, up on the stream tonight, but I don't think I have mentioned how amazing Pseudonym is. So I figure it's time to do that. So,
Yeah, she is fucking amazing.
I mean, beyond what I can describe.
She's just been a lot of help. I mean, I couldn't have done it without her.
Yeah.
I could have, but it would have been awful.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I'd make that statement. I don't know if that would would have
Yeah,
happened.
she's
to be
been
honest.
she's really been
Yeah.
she's been there.
Well, the last time I talked to her about it, she says, "I'm just trying to help out when I can or where I can." I said, "Help out" is the biggest understatement I've ever heard.
All right. It's just there's so many fucking defendants again.
Well, I think what Susan was saying too makes perfect sense. Is you know take advantage of the doe list, and that way you can always amend it
Yeah,
afterwards.
but this is my thing. Like, if I see what they've done here, and I don't identify,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
do I lose that? Like, if there's more information, sure, but like this information alone here does, like, what if there is no more information? Then then they can't be a defendant. I guess is the issue that I'm having in my brain on the processing of it.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Like I said, I think if it comes down to it, Scott, if you're up against a deadline or whatever, that you have to have this filed, then you make the absolute decision and be okay with it. There's not really more you can do with it than that.
Well, here, this is where it's at. This is where the lawsuit's at right now. I pretty much have almost all the details in here. The next thing is for me to do the causes of action. I have to have the defendants kind of established before I do the causes of action, because those causes of action will have those defendants listed in that cause of action.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
I
mean, and that's what inevitably ties it together and finalizes it.
Yeah, so like, that's what I'm doing right now, because I pretty much have the details. I had to plug in the February 16 thing, but all the other details for all the misdemeanors are in here. The only other thing that I have to add, I have to do a little of the language about my report, and then I have to do the swatting of the other protesters besides Zach. And that's the gist of what I need to do. And then I have to plead out the causes of action. But I need to have the defendants figured out. And so that's what I'm kind of doing here as I'm moving through here.
So let me ask you about the swatting of the other people. How much detail do you have to get into with them?
Not much. It's got to be very just general.
Right. So you can't just say, there was a total of 46 swattings, or however many.
A little more detail of it.
And I mean, I realize that number is going to change because some of those weren't in California. A couple of them are out of state. But
it's still well. I'm not doing anything after July. I did for Zach, but I'm trying to keep it all before. I'm trying to keep it before the actual San Luis Obispo incident.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's what ties it all together.
Yes, and because I'm saving all the swattings for my last swatting suit from February, where they made my hands go, that gave me nerve damage for a while. Right. It might not be nerve damage, but it gave me permanent, not semi-permanent numbness. But it is important to kind of get a little of that. I mean, but this thing is, where are we at? How many? 87 pages. Like, if I could get it out at 90, like 100, I think I'd be really good. All right.
Well, I don't see why you couldn't, because, like I said, I think we can probably go back through and shorten up some of this. It's not going to eliminate a lot of pages, but we can eliminate some. And based on what you were just talking about, the other swatting suit, I think you can be really general with the other people that were swatted. It just needs to identify the circumstance, not, to the overall circumstance, not the specifics of each one. I mean, you wouldn't have to go through and identify the responding officers or who wrote the reports or anything else for each one of those in this. And I think that goes to I just lost my train of thought. Oh, that goes to tying all this stuff together, that this each thing that happened rode on the back of something else that had happened prior to it. And the culmination of that is the SLO situation, the SLO swatting. That's when it kind of finalized for this.
I don't know if I should have negligent. See, I could name them here. I didn't get them served. All right, I'll have to come back to this. I got Miha served. $187 is good. The body cam footage shows a video playing the officer's body worn camera shows Richardson escorting the officer to an enclosed, insulated structure inside a pavilion tent. Richardson opened up the door and gestured. That's the service going on right now. The body worn camera footage shows a video playing that featured David Miscavige, the leader of Scientology. The audio from the video can be heard. All of the Now organization executive course graduates, all of the Now flag executive briefing course graduates. And Richardson stated, that's a service going on right now. That's a recording from an officer Miha stated, and they were here. I'm the officer. Richardson answered, yeah, while the people that were upstairs doing a smaller service were the ones that were disturbed. We had to put up with all of this stuff to keep him from disturbing the larger one as people were. But the people that were in the smaller service, these people were the ones that were being, the service was ended as soon as a bullhorning was going on.
I'm surprised. These people walk hunched over all the time. I'm surprised they don't walk around with their tongues hanging down around their knees from twisting their words so hard all the time. Because that's all this is. all they're doing is trying to again uphold what Oda was doing, selling the 302. And none of this meets the definition of religious service.
No.
None of it.
Chavez. Do I have Chavez in the other Title 42? Okay. I gotta. All right. Harassment. Calling 911 using fake identity with intent to annoy or harass another person is a misdemeanor. 653 PC, huh? Is that what it says?
Wow. So they're on body cam committing misdemeanors. How many times over?
That's a prank call, basically. Obscene, threatening, or repeated in nature. Oh, that's not the. No, that is Schaaf's Law Group, is what Officer Miha came to on 5/25/24. They came to the Scientology building before they arrested me in front of La Poubelle. They had a paper printed out of Schaaf's Law Group about 302 PC. Here's the actual code.
They must be
Section
pretty active.
653.
They must be pretty active because when I was in there 2 days ago, I looked something up online and that's who it came up through, was them.
Yeah, they have one of the best SEIs, search engine optimizers. By a third party.
Yeah, I mean,
Electronically dispute.
if you read that one in the middle, harassment means knowing and willful course of conduct directed at a specific person that a reasonable person would assume. If that doesn't fit for what they did to you, and LAPD went along with it, I don't know what does.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you got the one officer on that body cam saying, you know, when he was taking apart their religious services timeline sign, he proved it on that body cam alone that you guys are manipulating information here to make it look like he's doing it, you know, to interrupt the service, but you didn't have services going on by your own sign.
Yeah.
And that's what that points to. But again, I think he's the only one out of all the body cam stuff I worked on, did the transcripts with. He's the only one that called him out on that. Nobody else did. You know, even that night, who was it that talked him in to go to look for you that night to arrest you on it? And he had clearly said, this doesn't qualify. And before the night was out, they went looking for you. I mean, that's where the body cam stuff's going to really come into play.
A pre-recorded video that is not an act of religious service. No, that's why that like pleading is so like so important. All right, I'm getting tired. I can't think straight anymore.
Well, here's the thing to think about too with all that, as far as the pre-recorded video and everything else. You take any religious organization, right? Let's not use the C word, but you take any organization that is under that same premise of offering religious services or performing religious services. I can't name another one out there that's not considered cultish like this and everything else that considers everything they do to be a religious service. I mean, it'd be like my mom was a church organist for 23 years, and she'd go in and practice, or she'd go in and have choir practice, or I used to go in with her when I was a kid and put the numbers up for the songs for the Sunday services and stuff. We were in the church, we were doing stuff, we were working, but it sure as hell wasn't religious services. So there's all kinds of stuff that goes on that's not a religious service, but these guys try to sell every single thing going on there from morning to night as a religious service. And I just don't see how anybody in their right mind would buy that. Hey, do me a favor. Once you hit 17, put Hall up there under fined. Put that in quotes.
Quotes?
Yeah, under fined.
Why?
Where you type it in? Because I want to see if I want to see if it eliminates the other words and it only finds Hall instead of all the other stuff it found. You know what I mean? I forget what that's called, but there's a word for it.
It's looking for that.
In quotations, not in parentheses.
No.
All right. I wasn't sure if it did that or not there.
No, it's looking specifically for that. Hold on. Detective replace. Oh, what the fuck am I doing? No. I don't want to replace that one. See, Ventura, I want to do on my next shoot with the sidewalks. Next. Hold on. Plaintiff immediately demanded return of the cell phones and sought to complain about the seizure, while plaintiff immediately demanded defendant's return. All right, I'm spent. I gotta end this. I got court in the morning.
Cool. Yeah, get some sleep.
53 XA. Yeah, sorry, I'm my brain's just trailing off.
Good night.
All right, I
Good
feel
night.
better. I need to get all those defendants in.
It's getting
All
there.
right, yeah, thanks, David, for the help.
Yeah. Good night, chat.
Yeah,
Good night,
it's
Sydney.
a slow.
You're amazing.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, pseudonym.
Catch up tomorrow.
Peace.
Yep.
All right, thank you, David.
Yep.